Hey, it's Zach from 718 Motor Pool, and today we have this Federal Signal Vector Bar built to Chicago Fire Department specifications. And we're also going to be talking about a unique part of Chicago Fire Department history. So, Federal Signal introduced the Vision and Vector light bars in 1990. This was a revolutionary design since this was the only V-shaped light bar in the US until the 2010s, when Federal also started producing the Valor. The unique design enabled better visibility at intersections, and another unique feature of the V-bars was, in theory, each pod could have smart pods, which were lights controlled by microprocessors, that could perform multiple roles. So you could have takedowns, alleys, flashers, intersection sweeps, whatever you wanted in a pod. And for this, in the 90s, was really game-changing. This bar in particular is what's known as a dumb vector. Takedowns, alley lights, jog lights, intersection sweeps, everything we just talked about, this light bar can do absolutely none of that. In fact, this light bar comes in two modes, on and off. This was the entry-level V-shaped light bar, and in terms of V-bar intelligence, this light bar is in the remedial class. I pulled this light bar off a late 90s Ford ambulance that was bound for the junkyard, and because it was on an ambulance, it really didn't need extra features. A lot of the dumb vectors ended up on ambulances and fire trucks because they really didn't need features on the bar itself, but they could benefit from the added intersection warning. A lot of police vehicles that were ordered with dumb vectors had stationary pods, which let you have takedowns, alleys, rear flashers built into one pod, but it came with the expense of losing one rotator per side. Throughout the 90s and 2000s, the V-bars were very popular in the US. The OG V-bars remained in production until around 2011 when it was replaced by the SLR, which remains in production today. The Chicago Fire Department started using V-series bars in the early 90s, with Chiefs cars getting dumb vectors around 93, and then they used them for about 10 years before switching over to the Code 3 Excalibur in 2003. A lot of other Chicago fire apparatus in the 90s used the viewpoint, which was essentially two halves of a vector bar. So, the most eye-catching thing about this light bar is the green light on the outermost passenger side. Chicago Fire has a long-standing tradition of putting green lights on apparatus. This started in 1927 when Commissioner Albert Goodrich was appointed. Commissioner Goodrich had ties to the Great Lakes maritime industry, coming from a family that owned a steamship line. So, the red and green lights stem from maritime navigation lights, indicating port or starboard, or, in the case of a Ford Crown Victoria, driver's side or passenger side. Using red and green lights also helped fire chiefs determine which way the trucks were parked on scenes of fires. The tradition of using red and green lights still holds true to Chicago Fire, and even a couple of other Chicagoland fire departments have followed suit.